That's probably my favorite Tracy Morgan moment. And that's only one line. Annie, crazy hoe.
Oh yeah,
Got some nice titties, dog.
yeah, dude. Pam, this episode specifically, this type of outfit with the
Yeah, man.
midriff. I mean, she just her belly is. I mean, I'm sorry, I'll never stop loving this woman, Tashina. So,
Special guest, Shaquille O'Neal. Like, we
do
couldn't
you
pass this up.
do you know that this is the last time SNL had a special guest designation like this?
Really? I wonder why.
Happened in the 90s.
Steve, Sonia and George Leroy came to town bearing some 90s gifts that I wanted to show everybody. Just real quick, just to get the show started.
All right.
So, first off, actually, you know what? I'm going to do some art show and tell just to show you some shit that Matt Gettick did when he was a little kid. First, we got another Raphael Ninja Turtle. It's kind of, look at that, Steve.
Well, how could they get rid of that? How could they?
I know, dude.
That's
And then, oddly enough, as a kid, I was coming up with little comic book ideas of my own. So they found these. I used to draw these in church, of all places, Steve. When the guy was doing the sermon, I got bored.
okay.
So I came up with scribble people, is what I called them. So here's Bobby. He's one of the scribble people. We got Uncle Ted, very molesty. He's got the mustache. He looks like he's tripping balls.
Looks like SpongeBob.
A little bit. Claudette, for the ladies out there. I don't know what the fuck I was. Claudette's looking real rough. And she might have like razor teeth. That's kind of crazy. And then for the European crowd, Pierre, Steve. So those were my scribble people. So that's one thing. And then just to really quickly go through these, a 95, I believe, Harlem Globetrotters playbill. I don't know, whenever you went to see him. I saw him at the University of Toledo Rockets basketball arena in the 90s. So very cool. Shout out to Sweet Lou Dunbar. That's the one Harlem Globetrotter I remember.
Yeah, they did have those come into town. I remember that.
Always. And then just a bunch of comic books I thought were cool. Old Ninja Turtles comic book, cool art. This really intense Wolverine cover art. Love that. I used to trace this one all the time. More Ninja Turtles. Very cool.
I like turtles.
A very like crazy Wolverine one that's actually like 3D. It has what's that?
You took care of your stuff.
A lot of it. Some of it's kind of fucked up. Like Sleepwalker. I don't know who the fuck Sleepwalker is. He didn't get treated too well. But that's a pretty cool comic book. And then Steve, shout out to the Steelers who are, let's knock on wood here. They're doing pretty good right now. I think
3-0, yes, Mr.
But
3-0. Yeah,
back in the days, Steve, in 98, Cordell Stewart was leading the pack, along with the Bus and a couple other cool motherfuckers named Rod Woodson, a couple other guys. Maybe Greg Lloyd was in the mix, but
Yancey.
Cool little. Yeah, I think Yancey Thigpen was up in here too. And, Alan Faneca. We could keep going. 98 Steelers. That was pretty dope. And then two other things. One, a cheat code book / move list for WCW NWO World Tour, I believe. If I'm reading that correctly in reverse.
New world order.
Just every move that you could think of, Steve. I don't even know why I need it because it was literally, there was only so much you could do. You'd figure this all out yourself. And then something I used to get, and you might not have been into this. I don't know how big of a comic book nerd you were, but you might have seen it. Wizard magazine, Steve.
The title looks familiar. Yeah, I was just a WWF magazine collector. Wow.
This was a in the early 90s, I think it was strictly comic book news and like information about actual comic books. And then it became more mainstream and they would have like movie stuff, but
Mm.
very cool. And they used to do something cool that I remember that, X-Men or whatever, they'd have all these comic book properties and they would like fan cast the like X-Men at that time. So in like 92, who they wanted to play X-Men, I remember like they wanted De Niro to be Wolverine and shit, It would have worked. Remember how fucking ripped up he was in Cape Fear,
Cape
Steve?
Fear, yeah.
So, I mean, it was a cool magazine, cool little blast from the past, but Pierre from Scribble People, Steve.
And
Don't forget
Claudette.
Claudette, dude.
Where did you get that name? Were you born in 83 or 43?
I mean, I had a grandma named Doris and a grandma named Ina, Steve. It was pretty old. It was old school in the Geddick household.
I get it. I get it, man. And those were the people you went to church with.
Maybe no, I think these were just my imaginary friends, Steve. These were Scribble People. These were the people I talked to whenever the guy was going off about somebody going to hell. I don't remember who. Somebody was,
Somebody is all the time.
Oh, also, I don't want to brag, but just a lot of hardware for baseball for Matt Geddick, Steve.
Is that Mark McGuire I'm talking to?
I mean, it might be. Oh, here's another bigger one. 97, Steve. Even as late as 1997. It was always runner-up trophies. I was always the bridesmaid, never the bride. But, Steve, I'm telling you, I was a little fucking Cecil Fielder out there. I was a good first baseman. Fucking ripping fucking heaters, too, Steve.
Is that Jim Tomey over there?
Dude, what might have been. If I would have just given in and just kept doing it and not hated running so much that I stopped playing, I might be in the MLB still to this day.
Okay, Uncle Rico.
You want to watch me throw this fucking baseball over that hill over there, Steve? Got a
Man.
nasty knuckleball. The one thing I could never do, pitch. It's too much pressure. Couldn't handle it.
It's facts. I mean, you were a catcher though, man. Like that's harder than being a pitcher, in my opinion.
First
Pitcher-
baseman. First
What?
baseman, Steve.
Oh, I thought you said you were a catcher.
No. My fat ass legs and knees? Hell no. But I was a hell of a first baseman. And that's a great position for a fat guy to play because
Perfect.
really all you got to do is step to the left and just stretch. I was nimble. I could do almost a split and really get deep on those, the grounders people threw. But yeah, just didn't last long. Inevitably, when you play sports, you got to start running at some point. And when it got to the high school, like 97-ish, that's when Matt said, you know what? I think I'm good here. I think I want to just gain some weight for a few years.
Fuck some running.
Yeah. I it's not for me unless I want to do it. And I didn't want to do it, Steve. Fuck it.
Running can S my D. I love that. Now, today we're going to be talking about two shows that Tracy Morgan, the great Tracy Morgan, was involved with. Do you have a favorite Tracy Morgan moment?
It's tough because there's a lot.
There's a lot.
I mean, there's a lot of fun stuff on Martin, but I think just in general, my favorite Tracy Morgan moment is probably on SNL when he played the homeless guy that would like meet celebrities. And he did one with, I think, Britney Spears.
Yeah.
And he sang her like a song, Smoke a Doo-Doo Pie.
I love you.
Yeah, that right there. But what we saw tonight also with Shaq, that's also a hilarious fucking moment, Steve.
Have you seen that one before?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think that was actually on his
Best
of. Yeah,
it is. Man, I like that one. The homeless guy, the astronaut Jones. I feel like that's not talked about enough. Like there was one he did with Brittany Murphy, I believe, and if that's the same one I'm thinking of, Nelly showed up in that skit along with Garrett Morris.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
He has a lot of funny, like also, I'm Brian Fellows.
Brian
Brian,
Fellow, can't
I
forget
mean,
that.
that's so funny. Yeah, dude. And what's really kind of funny to me about him is that, he has this when he's just himself. He'll just be out saying this crazy shit, just like he seems erratic, right? And you're like, this is a character. Really isn't a character. That's him. And it's just funny. He was on all these crazy, huge shows, and somebody saw. They were like, I don't care how crazy this dude is. We're gonna figure this out because this is gold.
I'll
But
put
I've heard a
Gorman.
lot. Yeah, I've heard a lot of, and now he's doing good. Just it sucks he had to go through that shit with
With
that
Walmart.
accident. But I mean, now he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
He can say whatever he wants. He's untouchable now.
Pretty much, man. Like Walmart, like of all companies to like have a bag sent to you, like they got it. They're never not going to have it. It's Walmart.
Yeah, dude. That's like, I mean, really, Amazon is the only other thing I can think of that. Like, if Netflix ran you over, you could get that money. But yeah, dude, Tracy Morgan, he's up there in the greats now, I feel like.
His batting average is up there, man. I've said this before. Him, Chris Farley, there aren't too many I would put up there with those two, man. As far as just like any skit, even if it's for like a line, it's hilarious. It's not like on the episode we're gonna cover, he didn't even say anything in one skit, and the shit was hilarious.
Yeah. Well, to your point, remember him in Half Baked?
I did, yeah.
With my main man, who? Sir Smoke a Lot. I mean, he's in it 5 seconds and you remember that. And there's no reason you should remember that.
And I forgot how high. That's probably my favorite Tracy Morgan moment. And that's only one line. A&E, crazy hoe.
Oh, yeah.
Got some nice titties, dog.
Yeah, dude. Man, fucking cornfield and shit.
Oh,
Damn, dude. That movie's great. I don't care what anybody says.
man.
How
Yeah.
high is it? It's up there in pod flicks.
Oh, yeah. It's Mount Rushmore of pot flicks for sure.
It's better than Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. It's above that. It's below Half Baked.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Hey, boys and girls, this is Steve G and Mad G with Happened in the 90s, a show where we talk about what happened in the 90s. So get out your Stone Cold posters and your Stone Temple Pilots, because I'm getting bored. I'm getting bored. Da-na-na-na-na. I am bored. Da-da-da-dum-dum-dum. Da-da-da-dum-dum-dum. Da-da-da-dum-dum-dum.
Dude, you were belting that out, Steve. I think I heard some vibrato in that to use like some singing terminology.
I just want a real one. Then that's when he loses me.
And then Jordan gushes in his pants.
This for you, J Nuts, even though you don't even watch us. Still love you.
We love you.
But today, my friend, we're talking all things October 3rd in the 90s. Starting off in 1992, season 18, Sinead O'Connor is the musical guest, and she stirs up controversy when she rips up a picture of the Pope on the U.S. television show Saturday Night Live.
She was right.
She was right. Like, if she was still alive, would you give her a mulligan, Lauren?
Yeah, you need to give like a reprieve on this. Like make a correction like they do in the paper, way past the point where it matters. But yeah, it is wild though that I mean it really did like it was huge.
She was like a prophet.
I mean, hey, some people I thought it was cool, honestly. As a kid, I was like, damn, she's taking it to the man.
And like grown up things like this went over my head, and like I do remember the backlash, the outcry, the aftermath of all of this.
What did she say? Because didn't she make like a statement like the Catholic Church is, and then she ripped it up. Like I forget what the statement was too, because I feel like that really got in people's butt cracks, you know?
I didn't even know she made a statement. I just remember that lasting image of her ripping up the picture. But Lauren has taken people off the banned list before. He's put some people on the list and taken them off. And like I said, if she was still alive, I mean, at least an apology would suffice. At least.
She said, Steve, and I quote, "Fight the real enemy," and then she ripped the picture up. So gauntlet thrown, but years later, Steve, I mean, I think she was fighting the good fight, honestly, trying to get these pedos out of there.
Yeah, she saw some shit, man. And that following year, Martin is airing season 2, episode 7, Control. When Gina accidentally throws Martin's basketball tickets in the garbage, she agrees to work for Sheneneh in exchange for Sheneneh's good tickets. Oh my god.
Oh my god, Steve saw Martin live, my guy.
You did. I forgot
Wanted
to
to bring
ask
that
you.
up. I guess we'll talk about that at the end. We'll talk about that at the end. I'll give you a little something on that. But this is one of those episodes of Martin, Steve. Once you've seen it, you can unsee it, and it's up there in terms of one of the best, I feel like.
That's season 2.
I mean, they were just killing it. Killing it. And Martin's killing it because he's got these ticks. Pistons, Bulls, and this is not early 90s, Steve. This is what you wanted. Was Bill Lambier still out there talking shit?
Lambier's still out there. Still got Rodman. Rodman, I think he's there, but like he barely showed up around this time.
Isaiah's still there, right? He's out there. No?
I think Isaiah's gone by now. You got Dumars though.
You got Joey D. That's important. He's got these tickets, and he's taking his boys, Tommy and Cole, which is great. I mean, I would. We all would, I would hope. And he's like, man, I just feel kind of bad, though. Like, I had these shitty tickets, and then I took the radio giveaway tickets and did a little. So now we're sitting front row, center court, Steve. I mean, these are like Jack Nicholson tickets to the Pistons.
Yeah, party over here. Yay, Martin.
Yeah, it's so cool that Tommy forgets his sexuality, Steve. He just loses it. Yeah.
Yes, bitch. Party over
Let's go. But the game's not tonight, Steve. So they're just sitting on these tickets. They're, and I like also that he tells them like what he did, and like Cole and Tommy are like, damn, dude, that's kind of fucked up, bro. Like, I don't know. And Martin's like, you know what, man, that is messed up.
That's
like,
messed up,
man, I need to think about it. And then he thinks about it for like 1 second. He's like, over it. And everybody's over it, Steven. Why not?
The roof's on fire.
Yeah, bitch. But even so, Steve, I mean, it's a Palace of Auburn Hills. Even nosebleeds, it's not that bad. I mean, those people still get to go to a free game. Just ain't sounding. You don't get to sniff Bill Lambier's jock as he runs by you.
Yeah. Maybe Terry Mills will wave at you. Cue that classic intro, man.
Yeah, dude. Intro, just the colors, the close-ups. And this was just like something that you would hear randomly throughout the day too in the 90s, because when it was on syndication, I just was on. I'd come in and be like, oh shit, it's on, like, and just run to the couch. It wasn't available just to hit play on, guys. You lucky bastards.
On your phone. And Gina, she's doing some house cleaning. And Pam grills her like, why are you cleaning up for this man? Well, I live here too. It's like, well, if that was me, I'd never be cleaning up. It was like, oh, great. Yeah. How's that going with your man? That's right. You ain't got one.
I don't know why she doesn't have one, Steve, because Pam, this episode specifically, this type of outfit with the midriff, I mean, her belly is, I mean, I'm sorry. I'll never stop loving this woman, Tashina. So, but, she's cleaning up and she's like, hey, can you hand me those tickets on the table? And Pam's like, what tickets? She's like, the ones on the table right there. And she's like, there's no tickets here. So Gina has a panic attack. Those just fucking ace tickets that Martin got, gone. Yeah. She's like, oh, man, maybe I dumped them in the trash by mistake. So they go running out. They get into the little trash chute thing. and Pam's trying to help her like lean into this, which this is crazy. I mean, they're gone if they're there in there, Gina, they're gone.
Diced
Okay.
up. Yeah.
Yeah. But Gina like gets in and Pam like breaks a nail and like it's like, oh damn, and just drops Gina into the trash, which is hilarious. The physical comedy of her coming back up the chute and all dirty and shit. I love that.
And after Gina climbs back up, Sheneneh comes out of her apartment and she's just like, well, if it isn't Miss Trash Thief. And they tell Sheneneh, go back into your hole. Oh, okay then. I got these piston tickets, front row. Just throwing it in their face.
But that's music to Gina's ears because she's in the market. So she's like, what can I do here? What can we do to get these tickets? I need these tickets. And Sheneneh is like, oh, well, I like music. And I want Pam to sing me a song. And she wants her to sing Old MacDonald and face the wall.
Yeah.
Face it.
And she kills it. Pam kills
Yeah.
it. Because, Sheena Arnold, she got some chops. She can belt them tunes.
Old MacDonald. Yeah, dude.
At a farm.
Yeah, oh. But that's not enough, Steve.
And on that farm.
But at this point, Gina can't take it. Sheneneh's like, you know what? You can work at my salon for half a day, and I'll give you the tickets. And Gina's like, hell no. So they go. She's like, nah, I'm out. We're out. Let's go. So Pam's like, you know what? I think I have an idea. So cut to an alleyway in Detroit, Steve. They're waiting. They're looking around, looking for whoever it is. And it's not Chris Tucker from Money Talk, Steve. It's Romy Rome. Jerome.
In the house, without a doubt. Watch it out.
I mean, of course Jerome has tickets, Steve. But, he does try to get a three-way, which I love. I mean, I don't blame him.
You sweet on the road? Y'all sweet on the road?
What's the matter? Can you call nobody? So he's like, here's the tickets. And they're like, oh, awesome. He's like, whoa. Now, when you get in, you got to ask for Macaroni Tony. He going to let you in. But don't be lollygagging everywhere. Don't be sitting down at the concession talking to the fat man.
Just smile and float. And float and float. And float on.
Gina's like, man, what the? And she looks at the tickets and she's like, Jerome, these are from 1973. So I don't know who maybe Phil Jackson was playing whenever those tickets were good, Steve. I don't know.
That was my year. That's when I first learned to chill in my Coupe de Ville. Give me them tickets back. Might be collector's items.
So now Gina, it's just Mercy Street time. She goes back to Sheneneh and is like, look, I'll fine. And she's got a shitty attitude for somebody that wants a favor too. She's like, I guess I'll work for you for the morning. And Sheneneh's like, price went up. You got to work all day, which I love. I mean, she's a businesswoman, Steve.
You ain't going to be working in my shop looking like Annie, okay? You got to have a professional look. Then they cut to Sheneneh's salon, and Gina's got this hoochie mama do on top of her head.
Yeah, I mean, she even does like this funny, like she does the Sheneneh impression at the end of it, and it's perfect. Where she's like, okay, and just sucks her thumb and shit.
Oh my god.
Yeah, definitely thoughty. But Sheneneh's Shonuff hair salon, they got a volunteer, Steve. Full day. She agrees because she needs these tickets,
And one of her assistants, Rhodesia, Sheneneh tells her, keep your eye on the new girl. I don't like her, and I know she don't like me. And then Laquita comes up, and she wants to get all kinds of work done to her hair.
She also, I love the attitude of Sheneneh when Laquita comes up with like the picture. She's like, I want to look like this. She's like, you coming up here with a damn Whitney Houston picture. I can't, I'm not a magician. Look,
you're not even Bobby Brown.
So Gina's got an ass attitude. She can't sweep. Pam comes to help out, but just ends up getting a bunch of work done while she's there watching Gina work.
Well, if you want to do some work, shampoo Laquita's hair. So she sits Laquita down, and Laquita's like, I want some bomb weed with some burgundy finger waves and some glitter.
And Gina's like, damn, is this like 10 years ago? Or she says something and like doesn't hit Laquita well, and she's like, Sheneneh, this bougie ass bitch talking all this shit. I'm going to some other place. And Sheneneh's like, you a regular. You a regular. She's like, I'll come back when that bougie ass bitch is gone. And I mean, Gina's costing her business, Steve.
She went to Juanita's Bumper Curl. That's the same place Gina went. That's the same place Gina went to get ready for that reunion.
Great clips of Detroit, Steve. That's where I go. So I go to the white equivalent of Juanita's Bumper Curl. But she can't even wash hair, Steve. You know, it's like, goddamn, well, if you can't wash hair, what else can you do? So now it's pedicure time. And luckily, Myra's been waiting all day to get these pedicures done. And this is one of the greatest just joke writing of all time. She sits down in front of Myra and is like, okay, Myra, I need you to take your shoe off. And Myra's like, it's already off. And Gina's like, oh, God. And you don't see it really much, but it made me laugh so much, Steve. I mean, it's great joke writing.
You got to file that corn down because I could barely dance. And then Sheneneh sees this. Girl, what are you doing? You don't file like that. You got to go to work on Myra's feet. And then she puts on safety goggles and pulls out like this fucking like.
It's a belt sander,
like
Steve.
A sander, yeah.
I mean, there's particulates flying everywhere, Steve. I mean, the corn must have been gigantic. And as a man with some ugly runner's feet, I can only imagine what Myra's working with because my shits look pretty bad. But I mean, to take a belt sander, that's some heinous shit going on.
And even though the Martin Payne character is featured heavily in this episode, Martin Lawrence, the performer, is still carrying this show. Mount Rushmore, it's him and Jim Carrey. I don't know. I'll fill in the other two later, but like I think like those two deserve a spot. And I'm talking not just 90s of all time, man.
Oh, yeah. I mean, comedy in general, but definitely their physical comedy when they were hitting that riff correctly.
Yes.
I mean, you can't beat it.
Farley. I knew I left somebody out. Farley.
For sure. Yeah, I'll think of some more too while we're going. But I love also that Myra's feet are so bad that they go to commercial, come back, and Gina's finishing up. Like it's been significant time, and she's still not done with that shit.
Everybody's punking Gina. Gina, go fetch me some Diet Cola. And on her way there, Pam's like, yeah, get me a pop too. I like how they call it pop.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's Midwest.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. And she's like, oh, you need a pot? You need a soda? Pam, damn. Okay. And she puts it down with a shitty attitude. And everyone's like, oh, damn. She got a little attitude on her. And even Pam's like, yeah, I know. Fucking piece of shit.
But Myra, not only does she need a pedicure, she got to get her perm. She got men's waiting to see her.
But Sheneneh there's a neutralizer. See, I don't know black hair care product that much, Steve, but there's a neutralizer shortage, Steve. They're out, and that's something that you need. So Sheneneh goes out, but Myra, she goes out to get some more, but Myra needs this perm. And Gina's like, look, girl, I know how to do a perm. Come on, let's go do this. So she starts taking over, and we cut to commercial again, come back, and Gina's basically like running the show. She's all permed up. People are getting the towels put on. She's collecting change. And Sheneneh comes back like almost shocked, like the place isn't burned to the ground. She's like, oh my God. I can't believe it. Yeah. But we come to find out that Gina, while she has confidence, Steve, she doesn't have the knowledge to back it up because as Gina tells, I think somebody that she did this perm. Rhodesia's like, girl, I didn't know she was doing a perm. I thought she was just washing somebody's hair. And Sheneneh's like, you gave Myra a perm without neutralizer. And Gina obviously knows that's fucked up and is like, oh, I fucking forgot. And everyone's like, oh shit.
I
What is
gotta get
gonna
home and season my gizzards.
And Sheneneh's like, girl, I gotta go get a damn Polaroid camera and take a picture of this shit. So they get over to Myra and they have her back to like the mirror so that they can just sort of like take it in, and they start taking off this towel. And Steve, I mean, it looks like Myra was in like the radiation chamber. She's losing a lot of follicles, Steve.
But Myra gotta get home and season her gizzards. But they tell her, Myra, you are gonna turn heads. Like, so by this point, Myra sees her reflection and she sees that she's bald. She's
I'm
like,
bald.
"Yeah, I'm bald," but so is Grace Jones, Sinead O'Connor, Eartha Kitt. Eartha not bald. You don't know Eartha like I know Eartha.
You think I look like Eartha? Yeah, she gives her a little Nittany Lion salute. And they let this woman walk out of there looking, I mean, she's got, what's it called? The shag, Steve? That's what she has. She's got a shag.
Man, she's got the damn.
Myra looks like the goddamn crypt keeper from Tales from the
There it is. There it is, right there. And then we cut the commercial again, and Gina, she's sitting there at the Sheneneh salon talking about how she's sorry about Myra, and Sheneneh's just like, she was toe up from the flow up. I almost threw up. You know what? You're not a bad person, Sheneneh. Oh, whatever. Anyways, here's your tickets, girl.
And Gina, as she's being like shooed out of there, realizes that, hey, wait a second, I think these are Martin's tickets. And she's like, you know what? I saw those on the floor in the hallway and I wondered if they were yours. I just forgot to ask. And then locks Gina out. So Gina's just trying to break in to beat the shit out of Sheneneh, Steve. But Sheneneh, that's a dub for Sheneneh, Steve. Always getting over on these people, underestimating her.
Yeah,
you
man.
know?
The final bumper, Martin, he retrieves his tickets from Gina, and before he leaves, he notices a difference in Gina. It's like, did you get a new dress? We'll talk about it later.
Oh my god.
That's season 2, man. I don't know, like I see some other classics on the horizon. I like to share the wealth with these other classic 90s shows, but damn it, season 2, Martin.
If it's going up against one of these banger episodes, you can't not watch it and talk about it. It just has to happen.
It has to, man. 2 years later, 1995, Deftones released their debut album, Adrenaline.
It's like you never. I know it's not from this, Steve. That's the only Deftones song I really know. It's like you never. He always. What's his name?
Chino Marino.
He always sounds like he's that. You know when you're trying to talk and shit at the
and cry.
He's got a hemorrhoid, Steve.
I'm getting bored.
Yeah, this was too deep in the new metal scene for me, Steve. The only reason I listen to Deftones is because I live with a Deftoniac.
Well, I'm one too, but I was not as heavy on it as Jordan was, especially at that time. Now, I have to ask, man, was it living with Jordan that killed it for you in Deftones? Like, if you guys never lived together, did they have a chance, or you just didn't fuck with them regardless?
I mean, I'm sure I would have caught on to like the hits because they were kind of my thing, but like some of the deeper shit, like I wasn't into like screamy rock like that, and it was kind of like. Is Limp Bizkit $3 bill, y'all? There's a lot of that, but that's about as far as into the wading pool that I went. Like Deftones, it was just a little too hardcore for me, I guess. I don't know. It just didn't hit me as like the way Korn or Limp Bizkit did. But I feel like they're all kind of peers.
Yeah, they are. Because I was going to mention Korn too. Like I know you're into them, and I don't know. What they do is no different. Maybe Chino screamed. His pitch is a little higher. Maybe.
I think the thing that made me really like once I got into Deftones and listening it with Jordan is his ability to make these insane noises with his screams that it was like high pitched like sounds and almost like scratches. But he
Yeah.
was doing it with his voice and shit, which is crazy. It was great, but it just I don't know for whatever reason with all those other ones that we're talking about, the Deftones just kind of like it just was never my thing. But it's shout out to Chino, dude. Cool ass
Chino is
motherfucker.
he's a G, man. And this album, it's probably my favorite of their collection. Of course, it's got Bored, that release, and 1 week, 7 words, Root. Yeah, I love that. And I think this came, I was different, man. Because I appreciate that high pitch yelling because this came about at a time when we were teens, preteens, and I was an angsty black kid on his way to the suburbs of Midwest America. So like hearing this shit was like, yes, I'm so angry. I don't know why, but I'll figure that out later in life. But right now, I
Yeah.
just know I'm angry, and yeah, down, 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 down,
I want to scratch.
because I am bored.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Seven Dust. Like I listen to a lot of like that kind of music, but just Deftones. It passed me by, Steve.
I know this is a guy you listen to though. On that same day in '95, Dub C and the Mad Circle released "Curb Serving," front, back, side to side. We be dipping it up to the day that we die. Fools want to get up, but I'm gonna have to something. So everybody, what's up? I don't know.
Dude. I mean, Dub C was in my life because of his West Side connection and his, connection to Ice Cube. I
Yeah.
didn't listen to a lot of just solo Dub C stuff, but listening to this, I mean, this is a good ass album, and this has like that West Coast sound that I absolutely love. So Dub C is a bad motherfucker.
Get a gang. Man, this is a dope album from beginning to end, front, back, side to side. And it actually has on that track that I just referenced, man, Ice Cube and Mac 10. And was it called West Up? Yeah, West Up.
Yep. Dude, Curb Serving's a fucking good ass song too, though. Like the actual like namesake of the album is good. There's a shit ton of what is there 16 songs on this?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. There's so many rappers in love on the radio. There's so many fake ass stars on the radio.
I love it. Shout out to Dub C, man. And on that same day in '95, Mariah Carey releases Daydream. And damn it, this is slapper after slapper after slapper. It's got Fantasy, and this isn't the one with ODB. I don't know if that actually came out on an album or if this was just a separate release, but this is the original Fantasy. One Sweet Day, Open Arms, Always Be My Baby. Like,
I mean, you can't get away from Mariah Carey in the '90s. If you had a radio, if you had any like, if you were ever in a car, it was on. It was everywhere. And this is like, how many? What was it? How many years in a row that it was like a number one hit, or I forget what the like stat is, but she has like some kind of insane musical stat about like she was in the top 10 charts every year for like a decade, or maybe I'm fucked up on that, but
I mean, she's a record breaker, man. This album alone sold 20 million, over 20 million. You go diamond
dude,
twice.
and she's just she's gorgeous, Steve.
It
She
helps.
could have any man.
Sex sells. Nick Cannon, you're a lucky man.
God, she got that. She know about that good dick, dog. That's his joke, Steve. Watch the Nick Cannon special. It's one of the greatest bad comedy specials of all time.
Yeah, you lost me at Nick Cannon comedy special. But yeah, somebody who probably didn't buy any of those in 1995 is probably a rental James Simpson because more than 150 million people tune in to watch the verdict of his murder trial, and it ends with him being found not guilty because the glove didn't fit. Goddamn.
I was in Mr. Hodak's 7th grade history class, Steve, and I'm sure he gave us the TV and let us watch it. And he probably went to have a couple of nips of whiskey someplace or whatever alcohol he was having. I feel like he was an alcoholic. Shout out. But yeah, dude. I mean, OJ had the world captivated, and this was it.
It was.
Everyone was watching it. I mean, there was people in the streets watching it through windows, people in Times Square watching it on a big screen. I was in a history class in 7th grade watching it with a bunch of people. And I just remembered that even as little kids, there were people like, I don't think he did it. He did it. And it's like that, that debate that everyone was having. But then just the reaction of when he got off, everybody, like, it was just like the same forever. Because even the people that wanted him to get off were like, I can't believe he got off.
Right.
Holy fuck. But
And
yeah.
all those kids, I'm sure their reactions are based on their parents. And
Yeah.
I don't remember the teacher's name, but I remember being in music class in 7th grade. And, because this is in the city, I think most of the class was in Joy. I mean, it's mostly black people in the class. And just like Chris Rock said, man, never got my OJ prize in the mail.
I'm not black, I'm OJ.
Still waiting on that. But yeah, man, it's one of those random days that you just remember. You remember where you were, kind of like 9/11. I remember like
Yeah.
we were roommates that day. Don't want to get
Yep.
sidetracked, but it is one of those days, man. And just a wild time in the 90s.
Motherfucker, I mean, he got off, Steve, and then he continued. This like followed him forever. Of
Yeah.
course it would. But what a moment in time! And this was like even today. Like I feel like with all this shit, like ways you can watch stuff, it would be the same way. It was just such a crazy
Yeah.
thing that this like huge it'd be like fucking. I can't even think of a celebrity that you could think of. That would, I guess, like think of a football celebrity, I guess, but
No one's that big, I don't think. And
no.
like,
Just everybody, dude. From the time it happened to the time he got busted, we were in the core. Everything. It was just crazy how much attention was just nailed to that one event through the whole impetus of it, and even after the fact. But hey, man, Johnny. The one thing I learned that day, Johnny Cochran, a motherfucker of a lawyer. So I
yeah,
think that's what we all remember.
that's a bad motherfucker, man. R.I.P. to him too. He's a legend, and yeah, he might be the GOAT. 2 years later, 1997, Kiss the Girls premieres in theaters. Police hunting for a serial kidnapper are helped when a victim manages to escape for the first time. Directed by Gary Fleeter, starring Morgan Freeman, Ashley Judd, Carrie Illis, Tony Goldwyn, and J.O. Sanders.
It's a decent like murder mystery movie. I like this.
Yeah, I remember watching it from the library. Back when my grandmother was a librarian, she would bring back these random movies, man. And I think this was before I was mature enough to appreciate something like this.
Yeah, I
You know,
agree. I feel like there's a cool scene on a train, like at the end. Like I think there's like involved, like the climax of the movie involves like a train. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong movie. But Morgan Freeman's good in this, and I do think that one. I know that this movie, like the character Alex
Alex Cross.
Cross,
Yeah.
he's like this is like one of those. It's a novel, so it's like a character he is played in multiple movies. Sort of
Uh,
like that Clear and Present. I forget the name of the character in that.
Ryan, Jack
Yeah,
Ryan.
Jack Ryan. It's kind of the same fictional type of thing, but I mean, it's got Morgan Freeman as a detective, Steve. Like, you're not gonna. That's a winning combination, no matter who he's with.
And at one point, Denzel Washington was supposed to be Alex Cross, but he had scheduling conflicts. Like I seen the one where who's the director?
Oh, Tyler Perry. Yeah,
I
he
saw the
played him
one.
too.
Yeah, and the movie was Alex Cross. I saw that in the theater, man, and like I don't know. Maybe kidnapping thing. It just I don't know. Maybe it's just not my thing.
This is less a mid movie for a movie like this. Like there was a lot of like types of like this type of movie that were way better in the '90s. Like a movie like
Yeah.
Seven, where they just went full hardcore, and coincidentally, it had Morgan Freeman in it. But I just think that that's what it is. It's a mid movie. If it's got Ashley Judd in it, unfortunately, I'm sorry, Ashley, but I feel like it's like that Sandra Bullock effect. Like there's only so many where she's in that it's going to be good. Most of them are just like, I think I saw that movie.
Yeah.
You know,
Even if you didn't, like
Yeah.
she's the tranquilizer of the cast, man. But a year later, 1998, SNL is airing season 24, episode 2, with Sheryl Crow as the musical guest and Kelsey Grammer, your boy, as the host.
Kelsey, shout out to the new season of Frasier out now, Steve, killing it still. He's still playing the character and killing it. So I love me some Kelsey. And this fantastic episode of SNL, he kills this.
With a special guest, Shaquille O'Neal. Like, we
Do
couldn't
you
pass this up.
do you know that this is the last time SNL had a special guest designation like this?
Really? I wonder why.
I just think they don't need to. They don't, like, if they have just a celebrity on, fuck it. But this is the last time like they are in the actual intro cards and stuff, and they say special guest Shaq.
And I wonder
cool.
why he's never hosted. Like, he's got the comedic timing to do it. Like, they've had NBA players host before: Jordan, Bill Russell, LeBron, Charles Barkley. Like, if anybody, you would think he would be one of the guys picked.
Yeah, he was kind of like that kind of celebrity. I mean, they had Gretzky on.
Gretzky.
Yeah, so of course, but yeah, it's a good question. Especially him. He's known funny. Like, he's good at doing that. So it is strange that he never got to, but he got to flex it on this episode, Steve, a couple of times.
Yeah, so I do appreciate that, and I'm guessing maybe it's because most of his prime years were spent in Los Angeles. That's my only guesstimate.
Could be. I mean, he could fly, but then, that's a big dude. You have to fly in a private jet,
Yeah. I don't know if Lauren's got that kind of bread, but we started off with the code open, and Billy Clinton, who's president still at the time, he's in the bed. Turn on the tube before he lays it down. And I like the tension already when Anna Gasteyer as Hillary comes into the bedroom. She's just tightening up her robe. It ain't tight enough. Like, I need a chastity belt under this tight ass robe.
I mean, literally no words, almost any words spoken in this skit at all. It's just iciness from Hillary because, Bill's got a couple allegations out there at this point, Steve. A couple of improprieties, if you will.
And he pulls out the Bible. She turns to him and is like, yeah, right.
Little did she know he had a porno in the like tucked in there. Little kid stuff. Yeah. But he's like, so then he tries to snuggle up to her, I believe. And she's just like, get off of me. And he just rolls over, turns the TV on because you know what? If he's just gotta have some peace. But unfortunately for him, every channel is about him and this scandal. So it's like Bill Clinton getting sucked. Bill Clinton loves getting, and he's just like, God damn, where's the Weather Channel? And the Weather Channel even says something about him getting his dick sucked, Steve.
Yeah, this wind is blowing. Kind of like Monica Lewinsky was blowing on.
Damn it. So it's a bad night for Billy Clinton, Steve. No McDonald's, no stained dresses. So he just rolls over, and it's so bad, Steve. He even has to whisper, live from New York, it's Saturday night. But then we get that intro, Steve. And this is a cast that this is up there in terms of the talent, Steve. This is up there. This is the Mount Rushmore level of cast that we're getting to.
I agree. I would say a year earlier, it had Norm. That's the only thing missing.
Yeah. But we do get some new cast members this year. Jimmy Fallon,
There's that.
Chris Parnell, and Horatio Sands, who all were superstars on the show.
In my opinion, Chris Parnell didn't get enough shine. I feel like he should have got some kind of breakout, like recurring sketch or something, or like his own spinoff, his own show. Like, I don't know, maybe that was on the table for him and he just didn't take it. But I just feel like he didn't get enough flowers.
He's just he's one of those guys, like you said, where if he shows up like a Tracy Morgan, like he's in stuff a lot that he just shows up and kills it. And even in SNL, like There's the one skit where like Will Ferrell's a doctor and he this is like a couple with Anna Gasteyer and they or Molly Shannon and Will Ferrell's like, we lost your baby, and he's like, you're a Von Droog. He's just
You're
like
Andrew.
a
Yeah.
yeah.
I know exactly which
Yeah.
one you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, he's hilarious, man. But I mean, great cast. So they finally, we're seeing those guys show up in this intro. And then we get to Kelsey, Steve. And Kelsey's a professional. He's a consummate fucking superstar. And, you know, he's been playing the same character for years. And sometimes you just like worry it's going to, you know, about these things. Frasier's doing well.
5 Grammys. 5 Emmys.
5 Emmys, maybe a Grammy in there. You never know. Maybe he did something. Maybe tossed salad and scrambled eggs, won something. But you know, when they brought Frasier back, you know, there was a couple misses on that song, Steve. This theme song, they were overthinking it. So at first there was like one that sounded, it was just Cheers, but like Weird Al to be Frasier, which you know, and it just didn't hit right, Steve.
And then the next one was a possible gangster rap theme song that focused on his dad, Martin Crane. Bang,
Yeah.
bang, bang on a Northwest night. Cop goes down. Banker takes flight. Steel shatters bone. Now he'll need a cane. This is the story of Martin Crane.
Yeah, dude. It's a whole different show that I'm going to watch. Sounds badass. But it's a good monologue. It's Kelsey, you know. I love it. He even gets a down Periscope shout out in there, which I love because he's got that coming out. You're not a fan.
No.
but I liked it. And I did like that hood ass version of Frasier of the Frasier theme song. So bring that back. But the first new skit here is a ad for KFC shredders, Steve. And Jimmy Fallon's got a little idea for Gen X on just like an alternative to pizza blows, you know? So why not get a bag of warm lettuce with some mayo on it? Get a shredder.
Lettuce and mayonnaise rocks.
I'm a big man and I need a big shredder.
Right there, perfect example. I'm a big man. I need a big shredder.
Well, how about a gallon of lettuce and ranch dressing, buddy?
With how Stella got her groove back action figures.
Yeah.
I'm old enough to be your mama.
And I mean, honestly, they're probably selling this shit now, Steve. This is probably an actual product at this point. The world sucks so bad. But yeah, KFC Shredder. This was a great fake ad. I loved it. And then this, Steve, this next one is a banger of a skit. It's this skit that I forgot about, a recurring one called The Delicious Dish, where Anna Gasteyer and Molly Shannon are just like two very subdued young or like white ladies that are just into stuff. Steve, hi, Steve, how you doing?
Autumn reminds me of one thing. And then Molly Shannon says, thoughts on Christmas suicide?
Leaves.
Leaves.
Oh, yeah.
Leaves.
We're broadcasting from the woods, and I just have to say, it feels like I'm on acid right now.
I feel
Tripping
like
my balls off.
Yeah.
But Kelsey comes in, and he's playing like a nature enthusiast who knows about survival, and they play a fun little prank too. They're like, "Oh, hey, man, love your beard." And he's like, "I don't have a beard." And I guess there's like, "It's on radio, they can't tell. Love your beard." And Kelsey, among other things, he just knows about nutrition in the woods. He's a survivalist. So the first thing, you know, when you're out there and you're going on like a nice little hike, maybe you take a little gorp with you. And that's what is it called, Steve? I'm too dumb. An acronym for granola, oatmeal, raisins, and peanuts. Just delicious gorp, Steve. Just take some gorp with you because it's just plain delicious and it'll keep you going.
But the ladies, they're allergic to granola and oatmeal. So they'll just have some orp.
That's funny. I like that. But then Kelsey sort of veers into some weird territory where he keeps like having these PTSD flashbacks of like something bad that happened. He's like, Yeah, so inevitably when the gorp runs out, then you're forced to get a little desperate. You start eating moss, lichens, dirt. Then 3 days later, you're see a KFC on a mountaintop because you're so hungry.
High in the
You're, sh-
clouds.
you're trying to go to it, but your friends have to subdue you, and you're near psycho level. You're in a psychosis. 3 days later, you're shaking from being so hungry, and then it gets real desperate. In one of your most shameful moves, you pick straws to see who's not gonna come down from the mountain. And maybe in one of your most desperate moves, you make sure that you don't get the short straw and you cheat so that you don't die. Who gets the short straw? Who is
Carl.
it? Carl, the godfather of your son. And after a while, everything starts tasting a little bit like Carl, Steve.
Yeah. Granola, oatmeal, shoe leather,
Hey,
urine.
maybe we should just start talking about Gorp again. Yeah. It's nothing like that thrill of eating Carl, Steve. But I just thought the way that Kelsey handles this is hilarious. This is a great skit, Steve.
It's probably one of my favorite versions of this skit. It like when delicious dish usually comes on, it's like, I get it. Eh. But like this one, it served its purpose.
Yeah. And then we get political, Steve, because a lot of sex scandals going on in politics right now. So Terry Ferguson, he's pro-life. He's a Democratic candidate out here. And 23 years ago, he lost his genitals in a fire. So he's not capable of having sex or being involved in a sex scandal.
With anyone or anything. His wife, his doctor, and his coworkers at Foot Locker told him, like, hey man, maybe you should do this. So vote for
avoid
him. He can't
avoid
even
sex scandals by electing eunuch Terry Ferguson to Senate.
he can't cheat on his wife because he lost his privates in a fire. In
Oh,
the next
God.
skit, we have Shaquille O'Neal, and he's coming home late. Before he goes upstairs, his dad calls him, played by Tracy Morgan, and his name is Bernard. And I guess Tracy Morgan's Big Bernard. He's like, look, son, I told you the next time you come home late, I was gonna take you over my knee. Now bring your ass over my lap.
I got to spank me some butt.
Bring me some butt.
So this is just basically Shaq just laying on Tracy Morgan, who's just a baby of a human being compared to Shaq. Shaq is just I mean, Jesus Christ, Steve.
Yeah.
His mom's uterus. Well, how did she survive this?
Like it's hard to believe he's not the all-time leading scorer because it's just like, dude, all you have to do is turn around and just like dunk on people.
You don't even have to jump, bro. And you could. And what's crazy about him is he could actually move and stuff, but also just, I mean, what is your life every day is just like, just shit sucks, Steve, because you don't fit in anything. Like, it's crazy to me that he is the same genetic makeup that we are.
Yeah.
Like he's the same thing. Something just happens where he just became this giant, dude. I don't even think his parents are that big.
No,
If I remember right.
they're not.
His dad was in the military, though, Steve. I think they shot him up with like some fucking Captain America shit.
Well, that was actually his stepdad that was in the military.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, damn.
But either way, man, this is a big MFer, man. And this is Shaq still with hair. Like this is a young Shaq, man. And so Tracy, he's like, so what did y'all do tonight? Went to the club, went to eat a burger with Michelle. She look good. Yeah, she does.
Got a nice shape. Oh, your mother had a nice shape when we met.
Dad.
Yeah, dude. When he's just singing to him and like rubbing his I mean, dude, you could tell that they were not like there were times where they almost broke, Steve. Plus Shaq looking at the camera and mugging to it and stuff. That was great too. I love that.
Yeah, he sings Shaq a lullaby, and then that's that skit pretty much, man. Like, he's like dream casting. I have these like SNL episodes where I wish this person would host, and he's definitely one of them. Will Smith is one of them.
That's crazy. He never hosted. That is weird. Um, but what else is weird is that Washington's full of these sex perverts, Steve. Not Terry Swindell, because we got another ad from the Senate candidate. And or Terry Ferguson. I'm sorry, Terry Ferguson, Steve. He has neither Washington insider status nor genitals.
Yeah, but Gary Simmons does. He was a Washington insider for years. He's had interns working under him, and he has genitals. Yeah, the thought of sex gives Terry Ferguson phantom pains where his genitals used to be.
Because they've been burned off in a fire 23 years ago, Steve.
I found it funny that they said American school systems rank 10th in the nation. Like, what?
You just got to throw it in, Steve. And something about education. Anyway, no balls over here. So Terry Ferguson, he's got my vote, Steve.
He
He's got
can't even
my
cheat.
vote. um, and the next episode or the next skit's very funny. Also, it's like a neo noir, like film noir skit where Kelsey's playing this hard bitten detective who's just it's just not going good. He's hungry. He's waiting for the next case to come in, and he's thinking about just a tasty treat, Steve, a burrito.
Yeah, and Lois Charles, played by Molly Shannon, she comes in, and he has these little asides, or what do you call them?
He's
The
just like
voice.
narrating, yeah, voiceover stuff.
She was hotter than 5 jalapeno peppers on 3-day burrito left in the Sahara Desert for 3 days. Did I already say 3 days?
I said 3 days twice. Anyway, that burrito sounds pretty good.
I'm so hungry,
Anyway.
like I eat an ox.
And she's like, hey, dude, what's up? I'm still here. And he's like, wait, yeah, tell me more about your thing. And then it goes into another. He's like, I'm so hungry, I could make an ox made out of burrito material.
And like at some point, she offers him $300. He's like, with that kind of cabbage, I can buy a burrito, or I could buy a suit and a burrito. That all night suit and burrito place on State Street called the Fifth Street Suit and Burrito Hot Dogs. That place doesn't exist. Damn.
He can't read either. He's like, I can't read what. Can't you read what it's saying? No, something like a burrito. I mean, this guy, he's hungry, Steve. We've all been there. I'm getting there right now. I could use a burrito, but this guy, it's a little much, you know.
He hasn't eaten in 2 minutes. And
Yeah.
I can make a burrito or made out of iced coffee.
But I mean, he's distracted, Steve. All this burrito talk, he's not thinking. So Lois Charles, she pulls a gat, and she's like, "I can't let you get. You know too much." And he's like, "Wait, is that a burrito pointed at me?" And then she just shoots him in the stomach, and he's like, "The lead wasn't as filling as the burrito." But now it'll do for now. So this guy, I mean, he's dying for a burrito, literally, Steve. But what a funny skit.
Yeah, this is probably my favorite one out of the whole show, man.
No, mine's the next one, Steve. The
Really?
next
Dude,
one.
that's my least favorite.
Wet him down. You don't like wet him down, Steve?
You only like them because the inflated tits.
Kenny, he made me go. He molested me. That's great. Use it. Wet him down.
Have you ever felt abandoned? If Todd dies, you'll be abandoned again. Now, how do you feel? Wet him down.
Teresa, who are you more concerned about? The buggy or Todd? Todd? Well, I can't feel that from your act. Do it again. The one Shery Terry gets her, shit like hits her, and then she's like, I can't do this. I can't do this. He's like, this is great. So he gets these Baywatch chicks jazzed up and actually good acting. He gets the chops out of them. They give a good line read, and it's all wet him down, Steve. But then we cut. And that got him back into Hollywood or Broadway's good graces because now he's with the big dogs. He's with
Hal Linden from Barney Miller fame, Christine Baranski, and Patty LuPone.
yeah.
These are like real actors.
Yeah, and they're like, this what you've done for us, like it's a new level. when I'm feeling it, I'm reacting. I'm not just like reading lines. Like you're a great director. He's like, oh, it's great to hear. Okay. All right. I think we're good here. Wet them down. So, I mean, that's his signature style. That's his Tarantino, Steve.
My favorite part in this skit was Tracy Morgan, and I think it was Chris Parnell coming in. They don't say anything. He just has a cigarette dangling from his mouth. Just
Just wetting them down, Steve. That was the unsung heroes of Baywatch. Those two guys. That's the next skit. That's what we need to focus on. Those two dudes.
and the next skit is the best of Horatio Sands, who's only been on the show for 2 episodes, well, 1.5 episodes at this point.
The walk-ons, the bigger parts. Some material from the best of Dan Aykroyd included. They just played Dan Aykroyd.
Like an old Conehead sketch. But Horatio Sands is still alive, but someday he won't be.
Well, I mean, shit, but we love Horatio. Eventually, he did get a best of, Steve, that was real. But this, there's just not a lot to work with. There's a lot of repeats.
And up next is the weekend update, which nothing stood out, except for Kelsey's, was it St. George tropical storm?
I am the most beautiful and sensuous of all the weather systems. The weather service is nothing to me. I spit on them. Yeah. This is what I kind of feel like Kelsey Grammer lives like, though, He's got a smoking jacket. He's judging people and spitting on them and just being cool.
Every power failure I cause is like a stroke of brush on a canvas. Every airport I close is like making love to a woman named Dominique.
It's remember that one that Christopher Walken used to do where it was like the hotel suite and it was like the camera and it was very much like that. And then we get Sheryl Crow, Steve. Siren of the 90s.
Yeah, and I think this is her only appearance, her only performance. My favorite mistake was the song.
Love to take Sheryl Crow out on a date. Wasn't a huge fan of the music, but she's got a couple of bangers,
She does. But I'm on the same boat. Like, I'm not really trying to listen to her music, but finger blast the hell out of her. And the next scene is London Peepers.
Is this the first Mr. Peepers ever, Steve?
No, they've had him on before.
Okay. Rescued from this is telling the tale of where he came from, Steve. He was rescued from a freak show in London. And once he was free of that barbaric existence, Kelsey Grammer, his handler, I guess, decided to show him life's luxuries because he was ready. After some teaching, it was time to bring him out and show him around and show him what the good life's all about. Because they're in like very pomp and circumstancy London, Steve.
Yeah.
Tea and crumpets.
But Peepers is an animal. He's a wild animal. He can't be tamed. Like, it's kind of like when people make monkeys their pets. Like, there's only so much you can tame them for, man. Like,
her eating his face off. She's eating his fucking face. Yeah. Hey, chimp lady, we know we're looking at you.
Yeah.
That's a Mr. Peepers in real life. It's not all fun and apples and pissing on tables, Steve.
Oh, my good man. You must have had more champagne than I thought.
Oh, hell. What in the hell is going on here? Yeah, so Peepers is just like kind of party fouling his way through London, Steve. He's pissing on tables. He's just annihilating apples here and there. Which, I mean, do you think Chris Kattan ever lost a tooth? Like, I feel like if I tried to do this, I'd lose a tooth. Steve.
Or chip one.
Yeah, something. Cut to the streets, though, Steve. In London, it's foggy London time, and they're almost treating Peepers like some sort of monster.
Look at his ears. He's a monster. He's not an animal. Well, he is an animal, but a very likable one.
Come on, Peepers. Let's go. So they go back, and then, it was time to show Peepers an even more high society thing, and he loves Tchaikovsky, Steve. He's got fine taste. So he goes to the opera. I think it's Kelsey Grammer's date. I don't know, but Peepers gets a little excited and it's hump time, Steve. You know,
You wild one. You must
you
show some respect.
Casanova.
Yeah.
Peepers, you son of a gun. But Peepers, Steve, he busted on that woman. I'm sorry, Molly. He did it.
Right in the canal. And this next one, I thought it was pretty dumb, called Makeys. Short lived. I don't know if this was recurring, but yeah, this wasn't it, man. Like, it's
Yeah.
about these little rats on a boat, and one of them gets chopped in half.
And then the rats don't have another rat half, so the rat doctor puts a fish body on his bottom half, and he's a rat mermaid, Steve. And then
Yeah.
some weird child with no pupils in his eyes picks him up, takes him back to his family, and that's his life. And that's it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess the fill time. But Morning Latte's next. Tom and Cass, and they have a new producer. Their morning producer quit over the summer, and luckily Devin just had been fired from Top of the Morning for sexual harassment. Nothing was proven, though.
Hey, thanks for mentioning that, guys. Hey, and just so we Cass and I do not approve of sexual harassment. Not like Devin, Mr. fucking pedo over here. Hey-o.
Mr. McFeely. Hey, look at the lights and camera. How about we start a morning show?
These summer movies. Love the great summer for movies. You know what I didn't like, Tom? Saving Private Ryan. Pretty violent. I didn't need that. I didn't need it.
Take a beautiful moment and turn it into a bloody free-for-all.
Hey, I know that they acted like this in Vietnam, okay? But I don't need this. Steven Spielberg, you need to do better, okay? We need a new E.T., maybe a new Goonies. I like Goonies.
Yeah, I'm all for the goon. And she, over the summer, apparently she had a surgery. She had an operation, and now she has a baboon's ovaries and a raccoon's uterus. She has a 20% chance of conceiving now.
Still not looking good, though. But congratulations. Congrats. But they got a special guest, Steve. Shaq is showing up to Morning Latte.
Promoting his album.
Yeah. Shaq, athlete, actor, rapist. No, rapper. Devin's the rapist. Hey, come on!
Well, Respect is the name of the album. And Shaquille O'Neal, you have all of my respect. All of my respect. All of my. You said that once already.
Oh. Mr. Touchy Feely over here is getting a little excited. What? I like how Shaq's reactions in this get better and better. Shaq, you're a rapist. This whole East Coast West Coast thing. Can you break it down? Because quite frankly, I'm scared. It's the only thing keeping me up at night. Okay.
Well, I make music for all the people. And apparently, you're going to do a song with Vanilla Ice. Who said that? Old Easy Hands McGee over here.
Shaq, I would never say that. You better watch your mouth. Okay. Catan plays this perfectly. Shaq, I took my son to theater camp. Shaq, have you ever been to theater camp? Okay.
Do you know what your sperm count is? Do not take it for granted.
Do not take it for granted. Don't take it for granted, Shaq. I think it's pretty good. You know who loves sperm? Devin over there. He's all about sperm. Just throwing him over the bus.
How about we not talk about this? This is a morning show. Old ladies are watching. And usually Chris Kattan's spot is reserved for the host. I guess they decided to switch things up.
Yeah. Well, Kelsey had to get ready, Steve. He had to get ready for the next skit. Hello, Dolly.
With their new dolls.
Yeah, it's Deanna and Don Simpkins. And they're selling dolls on the Home Shopping Network. Courtney Brittany is 100% porcelain with the most lifelike hair. And that pout, she's only $89.99. I love the prices, too. It's like 4 payments of $99.99. It's a steal. And this is a quality, I could tell you, because they just don't get dolls like this in prison.
She's such a pudgy cutie pie. And then there's Caleb and Steph. They come with their own spinning wheel. I once held these dolls in a rage management class. They remind me of my sons, Justin and Wade. My ex husband sent me photos of them, and they shoot up like weeds, don't they?
Oh, heaven must be empty because look at the lavender angel. She's selling for only 5 easy payments of $75.95. And what a dewdrop she is. She's so darn lifelike. So lifelike that at one point I put her under my shirt and tried to nurse her because I
We
don't
need
have
to
any
burp.
kids.
Maybe we need to burp her, huh?
Yeah, so it's getting weird on the home shopping network, Steve. But this is the type of people that exist on that, you know? They're selling weird porcelain dolls. And Kelsey, he's got a lot of demons in his closet. Don Simpkins, a couple of felonies, I think, on his record.
And Cookie giggles. I'm laughing already. She reminds me of my ex husband's new wife, who is a professional clown. According to court documents, they're just crazy for her.
It's not going well, Steve. But you know where it is going well? In the forest, because the next skit is the Lumberjack Classic. And immediately Kelsey flubs a line, and I thought it was just great. It made me laugh. But Clive, played by Will Ferrell, he's the champ. And like most champions, he gives it all up to Jesus Christ himself, Steve, JC. He's
All the
got him in his
glory.
corner. All the glory.
And thanks to the Lord, with Jesus Christ on his side, he pulled it off. Eternal Son of God climbed into his arms. And right now, he's helping me win lumberjack contests.
Someday
And
he'll sit in judgment over all of us. But right now, he's helping me win this contest, God damn it.
yeah, I can't have Jesus Christ falling asleep at the wheel.
Yeah. I don't know where he was for that one, but then a couple of other lumberjacks come in because there's like top tens here. So the first guy that comes in is Horatio Sands, and he's just kind of mad that Will Ferrell's hogging Jesus. It's like it's not even fair, man. Like, can I get some Jesus? Can we share in the love? And it's just not happening, Steve.
You get all of the Jesus. You can't just be having all of the Jesus all the time.
And then the only Jewish contestant, I think his name's Chris Weinstein. Just Jesus isn't there for him, Steve, at all. And I think we all know why. You know.
He asked for Yahweh, and he just wasn't giving him the juice. But he did find Jesus. He was at the Gatorade booth. And if all goes well, he'll be playing for Team Weinstein next year.
You never know. But I do have to say, Steve, when I was high in college, Lumberjack contest on ESPN2, I loved watching them.
Yeah, I think they pair that up with strongman competition.
Yeah, for sure. There was I remember like chainsawing. I remember that. There was those people that climbed like logs. Like they would climb up this really tall log using a strap. Yeah, it was just, it was good fun times. Like that English darts, professional darts. Yeah. 140. They had a great announcer for darts.
And could say this is a classic episode, man.
Yeah, for sure. This is a Kelsey. For me personally, I love Kelsey Grammer. So we hit that mark. Kelsey's killing it. And there's just a lot of memorable skits in this, and some that are in like people's best of. So I definitely would think that this is, up there in terms of just an episode. But yeah man, seeing this crew and like all of the hit, like having Daryl Hammond, Chris Parnell, Will Ferrell, Tracy Morgan, Tim Meadows. We didn't even see Tim Meadows in this at all, but he was still in there. Forgot. All the females and stuff like Anna Gasteyer, Molly Shannon, Shery O'Terry. It's a great fucking cast. And I think the only reason I don't like it as much is I just grew up with that Sandler, Farley, Spade, Schneider, that cast.
Yeah, that's the GOAT cast right there. Somebody who probably didn't watch this episode of SNL 1998 is probably English-American actor Roddy McDowall, born in 1928. He passed away at the age of 70.
Roddy McDowall.
Yeah.
Who is Roddy? Who was he? What were some of the hits?
Who actually shared birthdays with me, September 17, man. And he was in Bed Knobs and Broomsticks. He was in Shakma. That was about the killer monkey back in 1990. He was in A Bug's Life. I think A Bug's Life is his final credit, but he did a lot of voice acting for the original Batman. He was voice acting in Mork. He was in not Mork, but he was in Mork and Mindy for an episode. He was in Quantum Leap, Darkwing Duck, Batman the Animated Series, Two Stupid Dogs, SWAT Cats, Gargoyles, Duckman, Pinky and the Brain, the new Batman Adventures, Superman the Animated Series. And, he has an illustrious career in film, but his stuff goes back to the 1930s, actually.
Damn.
So
He was in the first moving pictures.
Yeah. Before they were talkies. And that following year, Japanese businessman co-founded Sony, Akio Morita, passes away.
Thank you for the PlayStation.
Team PlayStation over Microsoft any day. He passed away at the age of 78 in Tokyo, Japan. Thank you for the Discman, the Walkman, just your great electronic company.
Make a hell of a TV too. I couldn't afford it for a long time, but still, the PlayStation alone.
Just off that, yeah.
You beat Nintendo. And for me, it was impossible. I never thought I used to be the biggest Nintendo homer of all time, Steve. I'll never get any other system, but it's too good. Got a PlayStation 5 downstairs just waiting to get touched.
I haven't touched a Nintendo in decades, man. I wonder if Akio Morita, if he ever got to play the original PlayStation, because it was available at this time. I wonder if he gave them test runs.
He probably just was like, man, gotta bump the power up on this a little bit. These titties are too triangular. I need a round titty.
Put some round titties on there, baby. I don't like them polygonal breathes. But any callbacks, honorable mentions, or Claudette Chlamydia?
I just wanted to just kind of go through and give some flowers to Martin Lawrence. Again, we talked about the show. I got to see him live, Steve, in Columbus, Ohio. Now, literally basically a week ago. And I got to say, dude, I'm not going to say anything negative, but I will say that it was a dream of mine to see the dude. Yeah. And I've been loving his stand-up since the 90s. And I got to see what I think is a living legend actually do stand-up in real life. In probably what I have to believe is one of the last times he's going to be touring as a stand-up comedian. So in that regard, I think it was definitely worth it. And I will give a shout out to DC Youngfly, who I never saw actually do stand-up comedy, but he made me laugh my ass off. He was funny as fuck.
He was the opener.
There was like 2 or 3 openers. There was a girl, and I can't remember her name. I apologize, but she was hilarious, and she was like one of those people that just like shit talks the audience, like, Columbus, you ugly as hell, like just like that kind of comedy.
Oh, she's a David Lucas kind of.
Yeah, kind of a little bit, but beautiful. She was very hot, so like she had that going for her. But Martin, the things that I will say, we got very much, it's not. You so crazy, Martin, obviously. He's slowed down a little bit, but we got Martin impersonations. He leans into that because he knows everybody wants it. So I got a Sheneneh impersonation, an Otis impersonation, and a Jerome impersonation. Nice. And he still has it. He's slowed down a little bit, so you're not getting all like the crazy physical stuff. And I think he even alluded on stage that there's this rumor that he had a stroke. I don't know, but it was great to see him, man. It's like if you had the chance to see like Richard Pryor when they were like wheeling him up on stages and like he couldn't even move shit right at the end, it's like that where it's like even if it's not what you remember it was still awesome and it was really cool to see. So if you get a chance, this might be the last time you get to see him. So if he's in your town, give it a shot.
Yeah. I mean, just being in the presence of the man, because like you said, he's a legend, and
oh man, well loved, dude. if you were over 40 in Columbus, Ohio, the looks, the ladies coming out, just trying to relive the glory days, Steve. I mean, it was a sight to behold. It was amazing.
Yeah, man. All I got, man, is 1996. Seinfeld is airing the Bizarro Jerry, and that one's a classic because Elaine makes new friends, and those friends are basically the complete opposite of her normal crew. There's a guy who's supposed to be like a Kramer guy. There's a guy who's supposed to be like a George guy, and obviously there's Bizarro Jerry. And like everything that Jerry and that gang, what they routinely do, those guys do the complete opposite. Like, you guys are going to the library for what? Well, to read.
Yeah, do good things.
Yeah, so I love that episode. And then 97, Boy Meets World is airing Brothers, and this is the first time we see Jack, Sean's brother, his long lost brother that they had on their dad's side. And the dad, Farmer Fran, he actually tells Sean to move out and live with his brother. So hilarity doesn't ensue, but it's a milestone of an episode because you're introducing a new character, blase blah. And also on that same night, Sabrina the Teenager Witch is airing Dummy for Love. And I'm only calling that out because it's one of those features from our guy, PTO. Get a Patrick Thomas O'Brien alert. PTO, PTO. Yeah, yeah. He plays Cupid in that one.
PTO, PTO. Shout
But,
out, dude. Blast from the past.
But please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Please tell your sister front, back, side to side. We be dipping it up to the day that we die. Check out Food Show Fanatics as well as Crushgasm every Wednesday with Kendra, our guy Clark the Shark on Podcastle. This is Steve G and Matt G.
Happened in the 90s.
Matt was the fat kid, Steve was the flat kid. Life wasn't always great, but you know what was? The 90s. Happened in the 90s. Yeah!